Greetings, programs. Welcome to ArcNeo Reviews, and today we're going to be taking a look at something incredible. So, without, beating around the bush or wasting any time, today we're looking at Transformers Energon Shockblast. And, for anyone who doesn't know, this guy is from that bit of time where Hasbro apparently forgot that nostalgia exists. They lost the trademark to Shockwave, and so they had to release a figure named Shockblast instead. And I believe in Japan they just called him Laserwave, which was his Japanese name anyway. But as you can see, he is a Cybertronian tank in his first mode. He does actually have 3 forms. But, yeah, really, really crazy looking tank. Right now it's being a little wibbly on me. It happens. It's an old toy. These ratchets, always will have a little bit of play in them and stuff, but it still holds together well. It looks really cool. It does have 5 wheels underneath, actually, to help it roll smooth, which is nice. But, yeah, really, really cool design, actually. I am definitely a fan of this thing. The turret can rotate all the way around, which is ratcheted, really nice. You can also aim the gun up a little bit. No way to aim it down, but it aims up, that's all you need. And then this guy does also have sound effects. No lights, but he has sounds. So, first one you get just by pushing this little lever up part way, which will also convert part of the front end here. So, as you can see, as I'm pushing this forward, just a whole bunch of stuff's opening up, getting a little bit shiny, and then if I continue to push it forward, they'll open up the rest of the way and fire off the missile. And the missile's just pretty simple, neon green, clear tip there, solid black everywhere else. But yeah, pretty cool actually. So, I'm actually going to get him into his second mode right now, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this open, because it does help with his next mode. So, first thing you're going to do is spin the turret all the way around like that, come down here, pull these back treads down on their tracks, which is, at least on mine, very, very tight. And go ahead and fold them forward like this. Reach under here and pull out these little panels. Next thing you're going to want to do is come up here, go ahead and unpeg the eventual robot feet from each other. And then right here on the back of the treads is a little slot, and there's a tab right here. So we're going to bring out the leg, turn it right there so that you can slot the treads together, and then turn the foot back so you end up with that. And then go ahead and pull up this panel as well. Then same thing on the other side. Twist this so the little peg or slot tab, that's what it's called. The tab is facing forward. Peg it into the treads. Rotate the foot. Open up the panel. And then lastly, you're going to just take this gun and flip it up to reveal yet another little solar panel. And then come down here and pull out this little support leg. And there you have what I've heard called his satellite mode. However, I do actually have the directions for this guy, and the directions actually call it a base mode. So, I'm not fully sure if this is supposed to be like, think back to G1 Shockwave, who, his alt mode was a gun. So, he basically had just a platform he would mount in to become a turret. I feel like this is supposed to be like just a mounted solar-powered artillery gun kind of thing. and then later they changed their mind and made it a satellite. Either way, it looks crazy awesome. Once in a while, these little things will, close themselves up, so you'll have to just pop them back out. But, either way, it's a really cool alt mode, actually. It's basically just him exploded open, but it's different, so it is kind of cool. So, really quick, I'm going to get him back into tank mode, because that's an easier place to start in order to get him into robot mode. So, be back in a second. Oh, and before I go any further, I do want to mention, I actually got this guy from Autobot X on the TFW forums. So, down in the description, I will actually have a link to his sales page on the forums. So, go thank him for me by buying something from him. Okay, and we're back in his tank mode. So, to get him into robot mode from here, main thing though is you're going to want to check this shoulder. That Decepticon symbol is actually how you know which is forward and back on him, since the chest is actually identical forward and back, which is kind of rare. Most Transformers with this kind of, turn the torso sideways for the alt mode, there tends to be a very obvious front and back. This one, they actually made it identical, which is really cool, actually. But you're going to go ahead, turn him 90 degrees that way, come down here, just unpeg the feet, turn them forward, open them up. Nothing too special or interesting there, really. You're going to come to the back. You're going to struggle to keep him in shot, but you're going to unpeg the back treads. So there's actually this very long oval tab that's actually going into this hole. Hopefully you can see it. So you're going to bring it down on this, triple hinge that's going on. Fold it all the way down, and then this will peg into this new slot right there. Then you're going to fold these treads flat against his back. And go ahead and stand up with the torso. Adjust the camera. Then you're actually going to unpeg the hand from right there in his shoulder. So just bring that down, get it all adjusted. Bring down the giant, gun arm. Then you're going to lift up his little antennas, lift up the head, and then just twist it out. And there you have Shockblast in his robot mode. And this guy is frankly way cooler than he has any right to be. I've got other figures from this era. This guy, if it wasn't for his giant gun arm, you could almost pass him off as like a modern figure. But go ahead, just check him out here. Not really any new details presented as you transform him, but it is still really cool to see just how cohesively everything, fits together, so you don't end up with much kibble in any of the modes. Arguably no kibble. The gun arm is actually a little bit too long, so you have to keep it out to the side to keep him actually standing, which then makes him lean over. But props to these massive, stompers he's got. He does actually stand, with this thing at, extreme angles just fine. And this is normally enough weight to send most figures just toppling over. So he's pretty impressive in that regard. In terms of posability, both shoulders are ratcheted. Can rotate all the way around. The gun just goes, up and down very noisily. Rotation on the other shoulder as well. And then there's a hinge right here that goes up and down, and also is your arm rotation. He's got a double hinge right here. This piece is a little bit small, so I do recommend if you're going to turn the shoulders, you know, grab up here. Don't put all the force right here on this, you know, fairly small piece. You can also open his hand. It's got a nice, you know, kind of claw hand that reminds me of the animated Shockwave, actually. Yeah, one thing to note, when this slides down and gets to the sound point, if you leave it where it's making sound, it will just continue to make sound. So, very important thing to know about this guy. That screw right there is how you get to the battery compartment to silence him. If he won't shut up for you, do that. And also, really quick, if you pull back on this gun like it was in satellite mode, he does have a minicon port here. It doesn't activate anything, but he does have a single minicon port, which is pretty cool. Because of how he transforms, he does technically have an ab crunch, though it more just looks like breaking his back if you see it from the side. He does have a waist rotation. Legs can kick forward all the way, can kick back all the way. Very, very stiff, tight knees, but they do go, you know, full 90 degrees. There is also a rotation right there, just above the knee. He can do the full splits as well. And then what's really cool is not only does he have an ankle rotation and, you know, adjusting the feet by closing and opening them, he actually has an ankle tilt. I cannot express how genuinely cool it is to have a figure of this age with an ankle tilt. You know, that is just, you don't get that back in this day. And, oh, another thing I forgot to mention, because he is an Energon figure, that's where his, you know, faction symbol that you pop an Energon chip over is at. I still have not managed to find anything that comes with an Energon chip, or even just a loose one to throw on these guys. But that's where you would do it if you've got it. I do also have to give a shout out to his really, really great light pipe die there. I'm sure most of you have heard how great the Siege Shockwave, you know, eye light piping was. This guy is just as good. If it wasn't for the fact that he's actually getting all his light from, like, in front of him right now, this eye does that same thing where it just looks like, you know, there's an LED stuck in that just faceless, emotionless head. And it's a really nice touch. Oh, and before I forget, because it's always what I forget, he can look up, he can look kind of down, and the head rotates. Something about me and head rotation, or head articulation, I always manage to forget that. But, there you go. He's, overall, yeah, he is genuinely really, really cool. You know, yes, he's a little heavy over to the side because of this. But, you know, just do something cool with his pose and suddenly it won't matter, you know? At the end of the day, most Transformers look better if you actually pose them anyway. And this guy has some really, really good posing for a figure of his age. Again, it is very, very impressive, actually. So, if you get the chance and you actually can find this guy for a decent price, cannot recommend it enough. Pick this guy up. He is incredible. And also, really quick, I do have his card as well. Gotta love that artwork. Really, really great shot. Though I do wish he actually had that joint there. And actually having the tube would have been nice too, but it's whatever. He's still really cool. stats are weird for anyone who knows the character, because this was another one of those figures where it's, you know, it's the classic character and name only. This guy didn't even get the name of Shockwave, but then he has a complete opposite personality, where this is the guy who got bored because, you know, peace actually existed and managed to start the war again. And then I want to say this is the guy who got stepped on by Unicron or something. Like, he just went out in the most pathetic way possible. So, he definitely got his comeuppance for, you know, restarting the war. But, yeah, overall, fantastic figure. Pick him up whenever you get the chance. And, thank you again to Autobot X. Again, go check out his sales thread. And I will see you guys next time.